more on the latest diplomatic moves concerning Ukraine, let's go to Aurel Brown. He's a professor of international relations and political science at the University of Toronto. Aurel, great having you first. And second, I'd like to hear your take on Starmer's press conference after the summit.
In many ways, it was as remarkable as the humiliating dismissal of President Zelensky at the meeting in the White House in the Oval Room. The British and the European allies went out of their way to show that they starkly differ with the United States, that they respect Ukraine, that they want to support Ukraine. And the statement made by the Prime Minister after this meeting was, I hope, this is directed at President Zelensky, I hope you know that we are all with you and the people of Ukraine for as long as it takes. Everyone at this table, and at that table were 18 leaders from different countries, including Canada, and the heads of the European Union, the Commission, and the European Council, as well as NATO. Collectively, these countries have an economy more than 10 times that of Russia's. The problem is, can they mobilize their capacity quickly enough? Can they make sure that Ukraine gets the help as fast as they can if the United States begins to cut off aid, which at this point we don't know. But certainly there is the possibility of a tectonic shift where Europe becomes much stronger, far more committed, and in the long term, this could change the entire international strategic picture.
Yes, Aurel, this is one of the sticking points here. Do you believe that the European leadership and countries can effectively address Ukraine's top concern, right? It's the country's top concern, and it's its own security after hostilities end there?
They can if Ukraine can survive the next 6 months. And the plan, the 4-point plan that was put forward by Mr. Starmer is very different from the kind of negotiating approach that was taken by the United States. If we look at what happened at the meeting in Saudi Arabia, there were 3 points that they were discussing. And the third point was intriguing and also something that undoubtedly worried both Ukraine and the Europeans a great deal. And that is that the Secretary of State, Mr. Rubio, and Witkoff, who is a chief negotiator if it comes to actual negotiations, we're talking about a partnership with Russia, about economic opportunities. And what does that partnership mean for the United States? Well, the ambition of Donald Trump seems to be that somehow, through perhaps forcing Ukraine into a variety of concessions, Russia could create a partnership with the United States, which means that the partnership that they have with China would either end or would be greatly diminished. The European approach is, under all circumstances, Ukraine must be kept strong. Ursula von der Leyen, who's the president of the European Commission, said that Ukraine should be made into a steel hedgehog. That is very different. The 4-point plan is stating that Ukraine must be provided with armaments, that Ukraine needs to receive help in enforcing that possible ceasefire, that Ukraine must take part in it, that there has to be a coalition of the willing. Now, at the same time, the Europeans do recognize, and so does Ukraine, that there has to be an American backstop, that somehow they have to still keep up the Atlantic Alliance. So this will involve very intricate choreography, how to do the maximum for Ukraine, how to make sure that Ukraine is strong, that any settlement would preserve the sovereignty of Ukraine, make certain that Ukraine can become a strong, viable, prosperous state, and at the same time not make the kind of concessions to Russia that America seems to be willing to make to try to pursue this notion of a partnership, which I think the Europeans believe is illusory.
Aurel Brown, thank you very much. Great having you.